Welcome, 6th grade. Let me get this all jazzed up for you here. All right, I think we can see just enough of it. All right, this is lesson 8-6. We're talking about quadrilaterals. Yesterday, we talked about triangles, a polygon with 3 sides. Today, quadrilaterals. Quad means 4. So we're talking about 4-sided shapes, but not just rectangles and squares. We're talking about all the quadrilaterals. There's a nice page in your book that lists the same exact chart that I'm going to show you. Make sure you check it out there. Now we move on. The lengths of 3 sides of a triangle are given. Classify the triangle. We have a triangle that's 12, 12, and 12. All 3 sides are the same, so we would know it is a equilateral triangle. Then we have a triangle that is 18 and 10 and 14. None of the sides are the same, so we know it is scalene. All right. Then we have one that has 2 sides the same and 1 side different. That means this triangle would be isosceles. We use the sides to tell all of these. Now, how many different rectangles are in the figure? Ooh, these are fun to me, so we'll do it there. Learn to identify, classify, and compare quadrilaterals. Lots more names coming at you today. There will be a Quizlet for it next week. Quadrilateral, 4-sided figure. Parallelogram, 4-sided figure with 2 parallel sides. Rectangle, 4-sided figure with 2 parallel sides that are different lengths and 490 degrees. Rhombus. Probably should draw that in. Rhombus. It has 4 sides that are the same. Square. It has 4 sides that are the same and 4 90-degree angles. Trapezoid. 2 parallel sides. And 2 that are not parallel. All right. You've got pictures for all of them. We'll show you a picture from the book. A quadrilateral is a plane figure with 4 sides. I told you quad meant 4. All right. 5 special types of quadrilaterals and their properties will be shown in this lesson. The same mark on 2 or more sides of a figure indicates that the sides are congruent. And if you don't remember our fancy speak for congruent, that means they are the same. All right, parallelogram. We see with the parallelogram, these sides are parallel. These sides are parallel. These sides are the same or congruent. These sides are the same or congruent. There's all the words. Opposite sides are parallel and congruent. Opposite sides, parallel and congruent. Opposite angles are congruent. An important thing to remember. So this angle and that angle, congruent. This angle, that angle, congruent. Rectangle. Took the parallelogram and shifted it. Now, opposite sides are congruent and parallel. Only thing different, for 90-degree or right angles. And there's the proof of it. I'm not lying to you. They did this. Remember, pause, look at these definitions as long as you need to. Don't forget about that. Then we come to a rhombus. A rhombus, and I bet you they show square down here, are very similar to the parallelogram and the rectangle. So, parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, all congruent. Opposite angles are congruent as well. These are congruent. These are congruent. That means they're the same. With a square, all 4 sides, same. And 4 90s. That's what it'd be saying. Rectangle with 4 congruent sides. All angles are right angles. Now the trapezoid. Trapezoids can be a little bit different. Trapezoids just have to have 1, 2, they have to have parallel sides. parallel sides. The other sides, they can't be parallel, but they don't have to both be angled, but they could. They don't have to be a straight and a angled. Said that backwards. They don't have to be an angled and a straight, but they could. So let's see what the book says. Quadrilateral with exactly 2 parallel sides. May have 2 right angles, but they may have none. So trapezoids could kind of be a tricky one. Now, give me the most descriptive name. That's the one that's most accurate. I see 1, 2 lines that are parallel, so a pair of parallel lines. The other sets of lines aren't parallel, so this would be a trapezoid. And there's where they put it. Alright, the most descriptive name is a trapezoid. This one, opposite sides are congruent and opposite sides are parallel. 4 90s. Hopefully you all know this is a rectangle. Rectangle is your shape. This one, be most descriptive with the name. 3 sides that are the same. We all knew it was a triangle, but 3 sides that are the same, it means it's a equilateral triangle. And if you're going for bonus points, 1, 2, 3 acute angles means it's an acute equilateral triangle. Now this figure, 1, 2, 3, 4 sides that are the same. None of these angles seem to be 90s, so that would be a rhombus. The most descriptive name. Now we have one. No right angles, but 2 parallel lines, or a pair of parallel lines. Only 1 pair. Hopefully you see, it's a trapezoid. This one, opposite sides are congruent, opposite sides are parallel. We have a parallelogram. That's the the most descriptive I can be. Here, we have a triangle. With this triangle, we have 1, 2 that are the same. 2 being the same means it's isosceles. Now, those of you that want the bonus points, look at the angles. I think all 3 of those are cute little angles, so it would be an acute isosceles triangle. Here, we have 2 sides that are congruent, 2 other sides that are congruent, no 90s. So it can't be a rectangle. But what was that other name? That parallelogram. 2 parallel sides that are congruent, but no 90s. Here's the picture I'm talking about from the book. Every one of these inside the square is a quadrilateral. Now, quadrilaterals have 4 sides. So you see the figure like this? 4 sides is closed. That is a quadrilateral. So every shape we did today, except for the 2 triangles, were quadrilaterals. Now, parallelograms will have 2 sets of parallel sides that are congruent. We can get more specific. Rhombuses will have 4 equal sides that are congruent. So every rhombus is technically a parallelogram. Now, rectangles are kind of like they are parallelograms, but they have 4 90s. So to be a rectangle, you have to be like a parallelogram and have 90s. But every rectangle is a parallelogram. Squares are the most descriptive we can have, because we have 4 sides that are the same and 4 angles that are 90s. Every square is a rhombus. Every square is a rectangle. Every square is a parallelogram. Do you see how all 3 of those are inside the parallelogram circle? That means everything inside here is a parallelogram, but we can be more specific with their names because of the characteristics they have. Trapezoids, they're out here all on their own. 1 set of parallel sides, and maybe a 90, maybe not. They get there. But all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are quadrilaterals, and sometimes, like with this figure right there, the most descriptive name you can have is quadrilateral. That picture is in your book. Be not afraid to use it. Chapter 8:6. All right, so listen to the statement. A rectangle can also be called, what was that name? Rectangles can also be called parallelograms. A parallelogram cannot be a trapezoid because it has both angles parallel. Or a parallelogram could not be a square, rectangle, or what's that other one? Square, rectangle. Could it be a rhombus? No, can't be a rhombus either. So that one had many more answers than just the one. A rhombus with 4 right angles. Ooh, rhombus and what else were very similar except for the angles? That would be the square. A trapezoid has exactly 1 pair of parallel sides and may have 2 right angles, but it doesn't have to. 2 right angles, 2 parallel sides, or 1 pair of parallel sides. All right, that's everything we've got. We're just describing shapes. Get a hold of me with any questions. Thank y'all.